I'm on a journey to transform my face. I do it with hard mewing. I believe it's the best way you could actually transform your face to look better. And if you think it's absolute cope, then just look at my profile picture compared to my face now. You'd see the structure is totally different. And there has been a big problem recently that I have been facing in this journey to essentially perfecting my face, trying to do it within 6 months. And that was the problem of a lack of obsessive drive. There's motivation, there's definitely motivation that I have been experiencing. There's some discipline, there's some drive, but to actually achieve greatness in any field or even mastery or perfection, which is what I'm trying to achieve, there has to be a level of obsessive excuse me, obsessive drive for what you do. Like you do it to the extreme, and that's what I was missing because um, I felt like I wasn't pushing hard enough. I wasn't doing it more as obsessively as I could have within these few months that I've been doing it. I've gotten a level of results, but the results weren't as obvious, and I wasn't as happy with it. And the best way I have been able to overcome that is not to rely on like feel good, loving the process type advice of like try to fall in love with the work and all these flowers and rainbows type of advice that you hear. That's not the way to I actually found to do it. Same with the other side of that advice where it's like um, it's all about the negative emotions. You have to conjure a level of anger and hatred and spite to push you on. That actually pushed me on harder than like this lovey-dovey feeling, but it still fails in comparison to this. And it is the simple primal reason of to look better. That's the number one reason anybody looks maxes. It's the name of the game, looks maxing, to look better. See, I have been overthinking it too much to a fault where I was like trying to super optimize to become this um well-oiled, extremely motivated machine where I was like picking on tidbits of knowledge of like business people, athletes, and some sort. But looks maxing is not business. Looks maxing is not sports. Looks maxing is looks maxing. It's totally different arena or field. And say when it comes to like business, of course, like you have to conjure these emotions of like either love for the process or hate for an outcome. Like uh, all these emotions you have to conjure them up because business at the end of the day is making money, and money is an abstraction of society. It doesn't exist. It did not exist like when we were cavemen. It's not a primal thing rooted and hardwired into us. It kind of is by an abstraction, like it's attached to how um, your ability to provide, and your ability to provide is like how you hunted like back in the day. It's attached through abstractions, through this societal conditioning of getting money. That is the main thing. So I'm saying this because it's not as primal as a desire of like getting water or sleeping or this these primal desires. But when it comes to looking better, that desire is so primal and hardwired into us that it's not an abstraction. You may think it's like an abstraction. Oh, you look better to get made. No, it's not that. It's hardwired into us. We as human beings develop the ability to see attractiveness in people, in other human beings way before we learned how to speak. even way before we learned how to to put ourselves in hierarchies. So it's more primal than language, is more primal than status. So it's more primal than how we rank ourselves. So this money thing, these games of like sports or like being the best, that those are more cognitive, more modern kind of developments in the human brain. But when it comes to the ancient ancient primal wirings and desires of human being, as old as hunger, as old as thirst, right up there is looking better, which is why it's so powerful to just be a simpleton and just say you do it to look better. That was what I did. And I remember looking back when I just did that simply when I just did things to simply look better. I was more consistent, I was more intense, both intense, consistently intense with whatever looks maxing thing I was doing. And this is the time I got most results. It was during the times where I was working this overthinking kind of philosopher abstraction, mastery, all this. Those aren't bad, but they're not as primal as the desire to look better. And that is the big leverage in the space like looks maxing. It's not like any other space out there. Yes, but probably bodybuilding is kind of the same, but the body is not as, personal, and it's not as triggering for real attraction compared to the face. The face is more, if you're in the space, I think you understand this already, but the face is way more important than the body in terms of like actually looking better. And yeah, that is that's simply that motivation of like I do this to look better. That is the frame of mind that has transformed my work ethic, has made me mew harder and for longer and mew all day. And I say this because yeah, I just say that because I've been this overthinking hermit, especially if you look at my latest videos on how can I actually drive myself to do this, to hard mew all day every day. And I've been searching for the answer, but it's right in the face, staring me in the face for this whole time. The whole time, and it's just simple desire to look better. And there's this Elon Musk quote, Elon Musk tidbit or knowledge of how to learn things deeply. And he says that the human brain tries to forget as much as possible because memories take energy, take calories, and it actually needs to be important. So your mind needs to know that there is relevance and there's meaning to whatever you want it to learn. So you actually have to answer the question why. So when you're learning something, you need to know why. And once that why is registered in the mind, it will learn way quicker and store the memory better because it's relevant to you. And this is so very much aligned to what I was trying to do, which is hard mewing. And see, hard mewing is essentially just have to always remember, not forget to push your tongue, because you can easily forget to do it because it's more of an internal thing. External distractions can knock you off guard. You actually have to put your mind into it, and your brain, this will resonate with you if you've been hard mewing. Your brain will try to forget to do it as much as it can, especially if there's no meaning or narrative or relevance attached to it. So when you attach the very primal reason to look, just to simply look better, to a task as tedious or as baseline bare bones task of just like pushing your tongue against your palate, if you attach that to such a primal desire and relevant story to you, which is to look better, it will automatically result in you just doing it more intensely, and actually your brain won't forget to do it because it'll mark it as relevant. So that's probably the biggest thing I've learned as of now when it comes to like obsessive execution. I've learned this in the past. I know this probably, but only to this extent where I have learned it again, because we ought to be reminded more than we are to be taught. And it's a big reminder to always go back to baseline, to why you're actually doing this, and simply to look better. And that is not a shallow reason. It's actually a very powerful, very primal, and very ancient reason that is hardwired into us as human beings. And this is a tip for the execution part of how to actually execute on hard mewing or mewing obsessively. But when you're on the part of like how to actually do it, the bare bones technicalities, how do I do this, how do I engage this and that, this part of the tongue, then I got the solution for you. Just click the link in my description below. It's a full guide on what I wish I knew when I was starting out. It's a compilation of all the things I've learned on how to actually do it, for all the years of figuring out. It's all in there, that full guide, and it's for you. So just click the link in my description below. If you haven't seen any results from mewing, if you think it's cope, then you've probably just been doing it wrong. You click the link in my description below. So that's the video. Goodbye.